So this is game 2 from the group stages. EDG against my team. We are seeing Saya first pick once again, like KT did. Um, I really like the Tamkin span in blue side, like KT did, and like EDG is doing here because you first pick Saya, and they either have to pick Rakan and give you Rakan, and if they pick Rakan, they're giving you Alistar or Leona. And sometimes if you leave the Tamkench open and you first pick Saya, you would expect that the enemy team will have the Tamkench available. You can pick Saya Rakan, but then you're picking that into a Tamkench, and that can be problematic at times. Not necessarily just from the Devour, but from the global also. I think Saya Rakan is a really strong duo in team fights, but if you're not team fighting at all, you're dealing with globals, that could be problematic. And Tam Kench really opens up the other AD carries that are really good into Zaya Rakan, which are the utility AD carries. I think Zaya has a hard time against long range AD carries, and long range AD carries like Varus, like Ashe, really punish the laning phase. And so, if you also don't do leave the Tam Kench and they ban Rakan from you, then there's only Alistar, or you can pick the Tam Kench yourself. But basically, if you first pick Tam Kench, that feels really bad. And if you do not ban that, and the enemy team bans Rakan, you're forced to pick the Alistar or the Kaisa Alistar, that kind of thing. And then they have Tam Kench into that, which is pretty good or okay-ish. And then they can kind of have the utility like Varus again. So overall, with the standard compositions out of both teams, top tank, jungle, kind of like tanky also, mid lane mage or control mages, and then standard bottom lanes with engage support and just any AD carry basically. Really standard from Breeze. Breeze has played a lot of Ezreal in the LMS, and I think he's playing one of his comfort champions, which can be a problem for EDG. Definitely, I think that they can make the game harder for them because Ezreal is really okay to Saya, if anything good, because he has more range with his spells and autos, and also it's really hard for Leona to engage on an Ezreal. He already has the E to play safe and stuff like this. Really cool that to see Breeze looking for Klepto stacks by throwing random Qs there over the wall. He already got 5 gold from the Leona, the Ezreal, Saya rather, and yeah, another 5 gold from Klepto. So he has 10 gold for free just from showing Q's level 1. So yeah, Rakan started E to match that Leona E. Thing is that Leona went in with just the E, and she got the aftershock proc, but that got countered by the Rakan's Guardian and double shield with the E. So you don't really need W level 1 in this matchup. You kind of want to have Q and E just to stabilize as much as you can and survive. Because you know that Ezreal is just going to do more in the lane the longer it lasts. So you just want to survive those kind of all-ins early. And then there will be a point where you kind of have to be really creative in order to get those engagements as the Leona. A small invade from Kongyu. We didn't talk a lot about pathing, but basically all of the full clear topside. He probably started Wolves or Blue, and he did either Wolves, Blue, and Rump. We kind of can go back to that. We have the time. We 3:45, so we were at 3:45. Okay, so Olaf starting with Wolves. Then he's gonna do Blue and Rump. Probably no, he's just gonna do the crab first. That's fine. Also, he can do blue grump and then go to the bot crab and then do his red side jungle. But he did the top side crab, and then he's gonna go back to the grump. Then he's gonna go back to the other side of the map. And Gragas really countered that very well. Kongyu, he did the red and raptors. He did the raptors from the enemy jungle. He almost contested the enemy red. So Colombia should get ahead now from just that, really punishing the full clear from high on top. So I'd like to see that more because teams now or junglers now, we're back at where we were. Gragas has 6 camps as well as Haro. because Haro got stolen the Raptors, and Gragas decided to not do his own wolves and to leave the golems. He ignored the golems because he was going for the invade. So this golem is essentially the Raptor camp. So basically, he did 1, 2, 3. If we, well, 1, 2, 3, and then the crab and 2 camps. So that's 6 camps also. But he has 2 more camps to CS now, and he's matching the recall from Haro, which is really important. Often people think that getting ahead is all about CSing more, but we saw last game Score had more CS, that gave Smithy more time and room for ganks, and those ganks were working. The one that he got bottom here, we're seeing a different variation of how you wanna approach a situation or a matchup. Basically, Kongyue is matching the recall from Taro, but recalling at 6 minions because he knows that the enemy's jungler is recalling at the 6 minion marks because he does have more jungle, right? So he knows the enemy Olaf doesn't have more jungle. That's why he's gonna recall there, and he knows that if he recalls at the same time, they're gonna both be at the same time in the map. You be like, Luis, why is Harold 1 level ahead? Even though Kongye did the same exact amount of camps. Well, that's just golems. If you do golems, you get like 1/10 of your level, uh, like 1/10 of level advantage basically. So that small like experience advantage gives you this kind of awkward situation when with both junglers at same CS. But if you did golems once or twice, or one more golems than your opponent, basically, you're going to be up in experience. So that's why, or you're going to be even when you're behind in CS, things like this. It's gonna be really weird when that happens. But yeah, Kongyue, if Kongyue had done Wolves and then Recall, Kongyue would have been here coming from base, and then Haro would walk from base straight to the enemy Raptors because he knows the timer from the pathing. Since he find Kongyue with red buff at his jungle invading the Raptors or his Raptors, in this case Haro Raptors, he knew that Kongyue had done Raptors also because of the CS score. When you tapped, he knew that he had done Red Raptors, and then he also invaded, Haro's Raptors. So Haro always with his tempo advantage. Tempo is basically the time that you are on the map over your opponents, the time that you have of an advantage, and he knew that Koike likely was going to do those walls or do the rest of the camps that he was left with, and he was going to steal the enemy Raptors here. And when this happens, then you are ahead because you're basically taking back the Raptors that you got stolen, and you're not only are taking back those Raptors, you're getting the level 2 Raptors, like jungle levels up, so you're getting a much more better camp, and you're also like allowed to leave vision when you're invading like this. But okay, it went wrong for EDG, but the idea is there, and it's such an standard play that I like this from Matt Team because Matt Team knew that EDG was likely to invade there, that they were likely to look for that invade because they knew that that was their tempo advantage. But we saw Kongyue didn't finish those wolves. And I know it took a lot of time explaining this, but it's really important and it's really smart from Matt Team. Kongyue not doing wolves allowed them to contest those raptors. At best, this is a 50-50. At best. At worst, rather. At worst, it's a 50-50 that you lose, and then you're even in CS because you still have the wolves available to you. But at best, this is 2v2, and they are on your side of the map. So, which this means that Scout cannot walk here because Scout wants to get from this angle or route. He's gonna find Univoy, and he's closer. He's getting like cornered by this wall. So if he walks through this wall, like here, like this wall can be his death basically. And you can mix this up with so many things. You can have your support recalling early, walking here to contest this camp and stuff like this. You can mix this up with so many layers, and I like this so much. Uniboy getting the sleep, this is so good for my team. So sorry about taking so much time, but that was so good. Jungle bad thing and smart ideas, stuff like this. So yeah, pretty good. Not gonna lie, I think that the elements thing teams are definitely underrated because we have only seen flash rules for the last couple of years, but I think Mad Team and Durex are actually okay teams and they can definitely contest the top teams here at Worlds. I think that this is just a simple gank. Cho'Gath really easy to gank because he doesn't have mobility, he doesn't have any sort of dash. So Ray after tipping, like good gank from Haru, but yeah, this is just gonna have Gragas. Like Gragas is gonna be really strong this game. He's level 6 because he catch a wave. He was ahead in CS because he did that steal at the enemy raptors and stuff like that, and he also got a wave. So he's gonna be up from Karo, but Ray is gonna be up from Liang. Um, and yeah, that's how the game's gonna look like. Mad Team's still in the lead because they got the kill on Haro and because they all actually had the more camps on their jungler. Oh, you hate to see that. Oh my god, he went back. Uniboy was already alive and he went back. So Uniboy went for the wave they're playing, the move. He cannot like go for those if until people from his team are closer. They are coming mid to defend like this roam from Leona. They don't necessarily know that Leona is here, but I expect that Matt team knew that Leona recalled first. So when a support recalls first, you don't expect them to be first at bottom lane. You expect them to be first at these places, at mid, at top, doing something cheeky, sneaky, things like that. So they kind of knew that Leona was roaming somewhere, and Rakan really wanted to match that, as well, also Gragas as well. They were coming from base, kinda. Yeah, they were coming from base pretty much. Rakan was coming from bottom lane, and Gragas recall, so he's coming from base. But yeah, you cannot go for those 3 minions unless you cannot even push here until like people is closer. Here Leona was in the base, but it's the same concept. Recalling or not, um, if Leona has the push or 10 pushes, is going to look for roams. If she cannot get anything done bottom lane against Ezreal, you're not going to get much. So here, pushing the wave was like a huge mistake. The fact that Uniboy lived is surprising enough. That was very lucky. And good job from Kungyu in matching, as well as Kay. They were both matching, so they're gonna get more than the 1K above than Uniboy goes back. And that's just so bad. Like, you shouldn't do that. But at least it was a 2-for-1, right? But Uniboy, why you have to do that? Now Gragas is so ahead from Olaf. Olaf already died twice, um, because of reasons, but like that barrel was so good. Harold didn't ult on time. And now we have this Gragas, which is behind in kills, but he's the 2 assists make up for that, and he's so far ahead in CS. 19 minutes is it's a lot of CS. He's one level ahead, or not necessarily the level, but definitely like half level or something. And it looks like a level because he's level 7, yeah, jungler is level 6, but in if you want to be precise, he should be able. He should be like half level or something ahead, not the entire level. Yeah, we are seeing now Matt team getting some vision bottom. I think that um, so he's really behind in CS actually. And well, technically he died once, so that's why he's a bit behind. But he's even in gold because of the kill and the assist. So he's even in gold. That's surprising. And but he hasn't purchased like same with it there. Yeah, the longer the game goes, the harder it can get for EDG actually because they have so much poke on Mac team, and they have such okay scaling against them. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. So it's all about execution in the end, but the Zoe late game can be a threat because Zoe is one of those champions that can not, even if she doesn't one shot someone in the late game, she can leave someone out of a fight or send someone back to base, and that's such a huge advantage in the late game because like the objectives are far more important, but we aren't there yet. Let's see what my team does afterwards. I think they so far have played very well against CDG, especially Kongyue. He has done like he's definitely being at the right place at the right time, knowing what the enemy jungler was going to do. EDG from pure priority, they get the mountain drake. There wasn't much for my team to do there. They could have started the herald when everyone from EDG was bottom, but you kind of don't do that because then Oren just comes because he has the push top. He just comes and then by himself he can stop the Herald, the Gragas weak Herald. And we've seen EDG really prioritize the others. Like after doing a play in bottom, they definitely check the Herald in top side. We've seen that in plays already, and yeah, that's gonna be the case here. Here this is what I like about Israel. A lot of the times into these kind of matchups, his item build is really cheap compared to the rest of the AD carries. Look at the items that Israel has, and look at the items that Saya has, and like they're swapping here. They're matching EDG swap. Bottom lanes don't want to be bottom basically because there isn't an objective that is like there's only turret, and top you have turret, but you also have the herald and top lane you want to send the most of your members to the lane that has the extra objective, so you want top laners to be the farthest away from that so that they can TP to that side, etc, etc. But yeah, we're seeing a fight for the vision of the river. This can be really good for my team if they are able to poke the enemy team here, but they haven't been able to get that poke. Ezreal ulting the wave from really far and then throwing the Q. He's playing really safe because he knows EDG members were at the river, so he's being really careful. As you can see, throwing Qs to the bushes. Now he's not throwing Qs to the bushes, he gets caught. But here, he was playing really reserved, definitely. He probably thought that they recall already because he didn't find them here, and they were previously controlling the river. Obviously, they entered this bush before this wave came in, so they weren't spotted entering the bush. So he probably thinks that, okay, EDG's bottom lane, recall. And even if he throws Q here, like EDG can just dodge it because they can see the Q coming, and Ezreal doesn't have vision of EDG. So if they dodge the Q, he's like, oh yeah, I didn't hit anyone here, so I'm safe to push this. But so it doesn't matter if he throws Q here or not because EDG can just easily dodge that and makes it's exact the same context, the exact same scenario if he throws Q here. So you have to kind of play reserve in those situations. Because your team isn't the team that has control over the river. And yeah, they're gonna lose the top third. They're not going to lose a hurdle yet. Not yet. They're going to lose a hurdle. I like that when junglers do these kind of things where they drag the herald and then they do it on this kind of positions so that the enemy team cannot like this plays into the ping ward over the wall, so the enemy team never knows at what HP is the herald. So denying some information from the enemy team is always relevant because they don't know how much time they have to like split the map. Like, okay, we died top, let's go bottom. Let's try for a play bottom. They're gonna do herald and top turret, but that's fine. We're gonna get a play bottom here. But how much time do we have? We don't know because even if Rakan is pinking the pit, he doesn't see the herald being done, so he doesn't know the HP of the herald, and that information denial is really good for you to take better decisions in the other side of the map. No, it's problematic for the enemy team to make decisions in the other side of the map. My bad there. We're seeing the Herald being used mid, so EDG pretty much getting all three outer turrets. Really easy from them. They definitely had stronger lanes, and they definitely shown that they had stronger laners this game. My only concern with EDG is that Mad Team isn't out of the game. They are just 2k down in gold, and they can still contest objectives. Here we see Israel. Reese is dealing a lot of poke there, and EDG completely miss their engage. And now that they do not have engage against the poke composition, they're just gonna get run over. That's expected if you do not get like a good engage that actually kill someone against poke. If you kill the poke position, then if you kill someone from the poke position, then you're good. But if you cannot kill anyone, then this is how it's going to look like. Ezra from the very beginning, he was poking the enemy team at the when they were tanking the mountain. Then he survived the engage. He kept on poking, and they eventually got kills. They're gonna get the mountain Drake, and now we are this excuse me, we are now in this situation where EDG isn't that far ahead from the enemy team, and the enemy team has good champions. Like actually, both teams have really good compositions going to the late game stuff like this, and as long as the game is even, both teams have really good shots at getting things done in the map. So I like what I'm seeing from that team, and I also would have liked from EDG to be faster to pull the trigger. To get that engaged. I think they waited a bit too much, but to be fair, it's really hard to engage into onto champions with that amount of mobility, like Gragas and Ezreal, which pretty much saved them there. We saw the dashes, how important they were on that situation. Um, Now EDG had tempo, and with their tempo, they went top and controlled the river. So EDG got full control of the top river, like full fog of war for Mad Team, because they were first at top. Now we're gonna see Liang coming from a pushing bot. He's gonna walk to mid, looking for something. Like as a top laner, you should always do that. Push bottom as a tank top laner. Push bottom, then group mid, see if you can get an engage. If not, then go back bottom. Not even an engage. The fact that you're walking mid allows your team to go more aggressive on that side on the 4v4 because they know that you're coming. So it's basically a 5v4, not necessarily 5v4 because you aren't there yet, but it's like a 4.5v4. It's because you are coming, but you're not there yet. You know, it's kind of like when you TP. It takes 4 seconds for you to arrive, basically. So it's not numbers advantage necessarily. It's numbers advantage, but isn't that clear to know how much it is of a numbers advantage because you're coming, but you're not there yet. That kind of thing. So this is the first Gragas, or one of the very first that I do not see doing the Sonias after the AP item, and I really like that. Thank God, I do not like AP items in Gragas. I know that that's good, and that people are doing it now, but I think that you should get Runic Echoes, and then that's it. Then your next items are different. Are tanky items, basically, not more AP items. So we see EDG was entering the enemy jungle, the Mad Team jungled, and then they kind of got poked and chunked out there while they were there. And here, they're entering deeper on the enemy jungle. Onibo is gonna get one bubble, then one Q from Ezreal, which with the bubble deals extra damage. Then Reese is gonna get another Q. He's gonna jump over the wall, hopefully. Rakan engage, and then another Q, and they're just slowly being pushed outside of the enemy jungle. And here, this is just my team composition is really good, you know, and also EDG, but EDG have to engage in stuff like this. When they're entering the jungle, you're basically getting chunked and stuff like this, so you cannot enter the jungle unless you're really far ahead. And I don't think that they're that ahead to do that kind of move. There, Conjuga got caught while they were trying to get the mid turret. Mid turret leaves with 8 HP, and that's really unfortunate for him. If he had died and his team had gotten turret, that would have been fine. But well, eventually his team got turret, so that isn't that bad. Ray used CP there. Liang also used TP. So now the top laner who shows bot after the first recall will be in trouble because if you show bot without TP, then the enemy top laner could be at Baron and they could be doing Baron already, stuff like this. So after a while, being bottom is it's going to be rough because the enemy team can just say, well, screw it, we're gonna do Baron here. We have our top laner, and we can look for it. But it doesn't look like none of the top laners want to sacrifice the CS for that. Like you kind of can if you think you can get something, but to be honest, if and the only team who can like sack bot on their top laners to go to Baron and start doing Baron is Choga because you have that better smite. You can if you do not get CC, uh, then there's the risk of getting CC. We see Ray being the first one to ignore bottom here, to be on the Baron and to like force and stuff like this. Now we're seeing Liang matching that, but yeah, sometimes what I was saying there is that sometimes there's a top laner that shows bot, like at these points in the game, and the enemy team, when they see that they have their top laner top already, and or top side or mid whatever, and they start the Baron and then it's much easier, to execute because you have your frontliner with you, while the enemy team doesn't. So they get a pick on to Cho'Gath, but my team quickly responding. I really like what the champions can do here. Ezreal does a lot of work. Reese is in a really comfort pick here, and so they came up on top, and it was kind of fortunate that Kate died because the way Kate died was by engaging. That's so tragic. Also, like my team made that a 3-4-3 essentially when they were the ones that were going to win the fight. So they could have just stayed in the 3-4-2, which isn't bad. But yeah, you can see what both compositions can do. Basically, EDG can engage really easily. They only got the top laner there, and it could just been better. That was so tragic. Oh, like you just got auto, and that's it. Like, look at the damage from Ezreal. That was last team fight. Those are the fights where Ezreal is just free hitting and landing Qs and chasing you down. Like Ezreal can run you down by Q, auto, and then E, and then you throw another Q, you land it, then you get E again, then you E, and then you Q, and then you E, and then you Q, and then you just chase people down. So very even game, but I think it's not my team favor with the composition. I think that's better for the longer stages of the game because the EDGs engage can be deadly, but also my team has a really safe composition. The only one who is weak to engages is Oniboy, and I think Oniboy, if he has flash, it's not as risky for him, or it's not as dangerous. So both supports have the 6 convergence, really strong item, and yeah, on engaged supports we're gonna see that more and more. We even see that on Tamkinch nowadays, and on Braum. The item is just too good. Um, yeah, we see EDG is still controlling the river. The problem is that it doesn't matter how much time they control here. Yeah, they have to have that. This is the good thing. They have to start forcing the Baron so that the enemy team can come to you, and then you can look for engages. If the engage doesn't look that good, then you just back away and that's it. But here, like that was definitely that was a bit over aggressive from Breeze using the E like that. Means that he's split from his team. His team is here. He just used E from here to here. His team is here, and he's split from the team. And he has to flash this or use QSS. Yeah, he used QSS and flash. Good engage from EDG. Now they can keep on forcing Baron and look for now for Ezreal, who doesn't have flash, and slowly get that. But the fact that they didn't start Baron earlier, like earlier in the game when they started getting the control there, was worrisome there. They really like what Matt team is doing. Now they know that EDG already used their tempo for that Baron. Now it's their tempo, their time to do Baron themselves. They're gonna do Baron themselves. They're gonna start it, but they're gonna hide Rakan. hiding your Rakan. K here. K is hiding. Look at the position he's holding. He sees the sweeper, so he's backing away so that he doesn't get spotted. So playing around the sweeper. Um, and now he's behind the enemy team. He can go for a flank. He just have to go here and then go here with flash, and then he's looking for an angle on the carries, on the primary targets, stuff like this. Here, he knows, yeah. So really good because you're under the clock of Cho'Gath. If this gets very low, it's not a 50-50 if you have Cho'Gath, unless Cho'Gath gets CC'd or stuff like this happens. But yeah, and now Rakan should have a really easy flank. He got spotted. He's gonna go in now. And well, my team actually didn't won that fight. Uh, Surprisingly, I think that Rakan kind of got spotted there, and that kind of gave reaction time to EDG. Basically, you have to come from both war and go in at once. And the reason why you're showing is because you already got the angle. But if you don't have an angle and you show, that can be problematic. Um, he, despite him engaging, his team cannot do much. Like maybe flanking isn't the best with this composition actually. Flanking is definitely good with Recon, but maybe if you have Israel Zoe, you just play front to back. Because if you're a group, what's the thing that can go wrong, right? Maybe flanking isn't the best thing always. Um, Now that I'm thinking of and seeing this, because you can also do that with Recon, but from front to back and then go back to his team, but he kind of won one shot. Like he got one shot there. Also, Kongye got caught there by Leona and Orn. Orn started it with the searing charge with the E, and then Leona follow up. So yeah, interesting that yeah the fight was much closer than we expected. Now my team knows that EDG got all those skills, but they have to go back to the waves, etc. So they're using their TP on their top laner to get tempo. And now with their tempo, they're gonna rush a Baron. Well, EDG isn't there yet, and now EDG is coming again because they're forced to do that. But you can see Saya on the map. Saya was the last member to recall from EDG, so they still have tempo over the AD carry because their AD carry is already here, and the enemy AD carry isn't there. If they fight now, there isn't an AD carry for EDG for at least 3 seconds. So yeah, this time they kind of front to back more defied, but Syndra got into the Ezreal, and Syndra just destroyed the Ezreal. So yeah, really weird. Like these fights have been really interesting so far, but you can see the good things that Matt team is doing. That flank from Rakan earlier was a good position to do it, but maybe with his composition, no one can follow up that very well because their carries aren't those carries that can just flash into the back line, stuff like that. Definitely, Ezreal Zoe is more of a front to back approach. Basically, front to back, you go to the tanks first, then you hit the first target that you see. Basically, that's front to back, starting from the front, going to the back, basically. Um, yeah, Breeze almost got their killed because he got stunned for a moment. But yeah, none of the teams have been able to do bear. Now EDG is gonna do bear. They have two sides pushing, really big waves on both sides. So at least my team is getting a lot of CS from the side waves, but yeah, they finally lost the Baron, and the team that gets the Baron has an easier time, obviously. Now that they have the Baron, EDG should use that to get the rest of the turrets that they are missing. For my team, isn't over yet. They should look to trap one lane so that when EDG starts pushing with Baron, they can get a pick. If they can get a pick, then you stop the enemy's Baron. So you stop EDG's Baron. Now all five are here from my team, so they weren't able to find a bush or something to trap. So, but on the bright side, they're matching the like they're making EDG's push slower. Well, never mind the double mountain and Saya pushing in the front. But by matching, you definitely slow the enemy team down a bit if you can rotate to the lanes first. So technically, here the map is shorter. If you can see here, like, the map is much more bigger. but here it gets shorter and shorter. So here it's really short, and so they can if this wave isn't coordinated with this wave, then they can defend this and then rotate this and clear this wave, and then when the next wave comes, so if the waves are unsynced, you can keep on defending. But here what happens is that the wave is so big that even if they try to clear this, Saya is just gonna take the turret. So sometimes you do have the time when the waves are not coordinated well. Here the waves are were kind of coordinated but not perfectly, and that's perfectly fine. I think that you do not have the luxury of syncing the waves perfectly there. But yeah, now they seem to outscale or something. I do think that Manting had a really good shot at this game, but they just weren't able to execute. They weren't creative enough to look for something. They had like three or two Baron attempts, and in those Baron attempts, they never won the fight. So maybe for the next time, if they get better attempts at Baron or better ideas on how to use their champions, maybe they're able to win. So yeah, Matt team showing that they can play, they can definitely play to the level of the competition. So very close game, and yeah, that was game two.